Hi, this is Jenny Dye here at the Manti Temple with my good friend who I know and you probably know, and I'm going to have her introduce herself.
Okay. Hi, my name is Connolly.
Awesome. Caitlin, thank you for being here today for the special tour of the Manti Temple Open House. We just finished not long ago. Have you been to this temple before?
Yes.
Okay. And what were your thoughts on this tour today after the renovation, getting ready to reopen?
It was beautiful. I didn't know if they were going to have changed a lot of aspects of the temple. It felt honestly really familiar, but it was fun to see it in its polished, shiny space. And I have always been an admirer of kind of this early Utah pioneer architecture, and so I just enjoy seeing it.
And why are you such a fan of that sort of Utah early pioneer architecture?
I mean, it's in my blood.
Say more.
I don't know. No, I mean, I have ancestors that came to Utah and settled here. I had ancestors that were from Scandinavia. They joined the Mormon church in the mid 1800s. And they came to Utah. I'm like looking at my mom like, correct? Yeah, okay. They came to Utah and they settled in the Sanpete County. Some of their last names were Hansen and Larson. And then I had another ancestor named Isaac Morley. And I think they all, or some of them, would have either helped build the temple or they would have come to the temple. And so I don't know. I'm really fascinated, I think, just by concepts of progression and, looking at like, why would have these people that were born before me, why would they have lived in Sanpete County and why would they have built a temple and what did it mean to them and how would they have acted in a temple or like what would that have been for them and then what would I do? And I just think I'm really fascinated in figuring out how where I stand and kind of a link in the chain between here and there and so I think this building, represents part of that for me of my ancestry and just trying to understand my faith and what I've been given from the people that came before me. So.
Beautiful. Sure. And as someone who is both a descendant of these pioneers and also, if I may, a pioneer yourself in the work that you do that inspires millions. I think that's fair to say. Let's say millions.
Well,
we'll say
it.
I did, and I stand by it.
Okay.
That how does seeing something like this artwork, which has stood the test of time, both in painting, in preservation, in woodwork, and how that all ties together to point to Jesus Christ. How does something like that inspire you? How do you feel connected in that way in the art that you create?
Yeah, it's a really fun thing to think about in all those aspects. I've done some remodeling. My dad has helped me. He's really handy, and I've learned how to, demolition and building, and I've seen the inside workings of walls and done finished carpentry as well. And so when I come somewhere like this, I'm just really, because if you look at pictures of the temple, it's very ornate. And I think when you think about all of the pain in the world too, it's kind of hard for me to think about two things where I feel like, why have fancy things? Why have elaborate things? Why spend any money at all on that? And that's a valid question. And I think two things are true, where you also are able to see that these pioneers that built this temple, they didn't have much. They had much less than I have now. And yet this was important to them. So again, trying to hold both of those things at once. But I feel very inspired by the craftsmanship of the temple. In every room, these little details, they change. I'm like, I haven't seen that flower yet. I haven't seen that carving yet. And I just love that they were constantly using their creativity to say, what if we carved it in this way? What if we built it in this way? And I think something I feel inspired by is that in this time, they would have just had very small, simple houses with probably lots of kids in one bedroom kind of situation, where I see a temple like this as a space where everyone really came together, and whether it was like you were making the fabric for the chairs or you were doing the finished carpentry or whatever, it seems like whatever skill or tool you had, everyone came together and they congregated here and they worked together here to build a temple.
Final question.
Sure.
Why should someone drive from Provo, Salt Lake, beyond, wherever, in the brief amount of time that there is for this open house, or even beyond, to enjoy the spirit within this building in particular? What would you say to people to encourage them to come to this one?
But this temple, I really felt the presence of humanity in it. And sometimes I think we strive for having beautiful spaces to almost have the erasure of humanity, to not see people, to not see any flaws, to not see stroke marks, to not see, where this I felt the opposite. And I preferred that, and I appreciated that, where I felt like this was very much a space built by imperfect humans coming together, trying to make something meaningful happen to them in whatever way that they interpreted their faith at that time. It's hard for me to completely understand that, but for them, they said this is our devotion and our practice. And I felt, as I was walking through, I very much felt like just humanity in it. And you would think that, I don't know, maybe for like a really sacred space, you're not supposed to feel that, but for me today, that felt like a very sacred experience, was to feel people.
Yeah. Another invitation, please come down to Manti for the open house, which is March 14th through April 5th.